Welcome to another episode of Inside IALR. Today's a fun episode talking with Dr. Debra Holley, who oversees the ATDM program here at IALR. Dr. Holley, thanks for being here.
Oh, it's a joy. Thank you.
So I know, last week when we were recording this, we had the ATDM AMCOE Summit, and that was, a really big event, hundreds and hundreds of people here from industry, from federal government, state government. Part of that was to celebrate the Navy's new regional training center that's being built for the ATDM program. But really want to talk to you today about the ATDM program specifically. So to start, if you just want to tell us a little bit, big picture, I know ATDM stands for Accelerated Training in Defense Manufacturing, but what is that program, just on a big picture?
All right. Yeah, the ATDM is a federal pilot training program that is based at IALR. It prepares adult learners for manufacturing careers that support the United States military, specifically the companies that are in the defense industrial base that are, producing products that go into our submarines and our ships. It is a 4-month program. We've taken basically the first year of a 2-year degree in specific skills such as welding, additive manufacturing, non-destructive testing, quality control inspection, and CNC machining. So we're covering those 5 areas, and we're trying to reduce the time to talent so that if people don't know how to do these skills anymore. And so if a company hires somebody off the street, they have to spend some time training them. And so if they train here first, then they're up to speed and able to be productive in producing parts at a quicker rate once they get hired by the company.
That's really interesting what you're saying about that. It's basically trying to pack up the first year of a degree program into 4 months.
Yes.
And hence the name Accelerated. This program is housed here, but there's a lot of different government entities involved. There's a lot of different private organizations involved. Can you tell us a little bit about, who some of those partners are, but then also, why is this program in existence? What problem is this program trying to solve?
All right. Well, I'll start with the partners first. This is a public-private partnership with Danville Community College, the Institute for Advanced Learning and Research, the U.S. Department of Defense, Phillips Corporation, and the Spectrum Group. We are funded and in partnership with the Industrial Base Analysis and Sustainment Program Office. That's a mouthful, but we refer to it as IBAS. And that is a division of the Office of the Secretary of Defense and the Navy's Program Executive Office, Strategic Submarines. They're the ones that we basically serve. And we also have many companies that are, within the defense industrial base and the submarine industrial base that send students to us and hire students from us. They provide us with information about what the companies are needing, so the skills, so they feed and inform our curriculum, and so they're in partnership with curriculum development as well. And so the second part of your question was, what are we trying to solve, and what is the purpose of ATDM? There, in the United States, there's a workforce shortage overall, and when you're looking at manufacturing, technology is advancing, and so the people need to develop skills on the new technology. The workers that have historically been in manufacturing jobs are retiring. Younger people have not been going into manufacturing because they've been going to getting 4-year degrees at colleges. They're not going into the skills trades. Population decline. We had the baby boom, and now there's less people to enter the workforce, and so the culmination of all of those factors has created a workforce shortage in the manufacturing sector. In 1938, when World War II started, about 33% of our workforce was in manufacturing. Today, that's 12%.
Wow.
And because of that, the Department of Defense has realized that in order to be able to maintain production of submarines and to work on the submarines that are currently in operation, that we're going to need about 10,000 workers every year for the next 10 years in order to be able to sustain that.
10,000 new workers entering the workforce.
Yes, 10,000 new workers entering the workforce over the next 10 years. Just to be able to sustain that.
Right.
So the purpose of ATDM, as we've already alluded to, is to take those adult learners and provide them with the critical manufacturing skills that are needed to, supply the industrial base with the workers and also provide them with the skills that are needed to be able to maintain our ships and submarines.
Right. No, that makes sense, and that's. In preparing for this, I knew obviously there was a shortage of workers. That's we talk about that a lot. But seeing that percentage of, as you said, to go from basically 1 out of every 3 people in the workforce is in manufacturing to almost 1 out of 10. That's a big jump. I know, as you mentioned, there's a lot of different components to this where students are coming in with no previous experience. We have companies sending current recruits or people that they're trying to upskill. I know even active duty military coming through. So what is the experience like for the student? And I know and later in this episode we're actually interviewing 2 students. So I mean we'll hear more from their side of it later. But what is this 4-month experience like for the students coming through?
So they come in as a cohort. Every class has 12 students in it with an instructor and a technician. So basically, when you're looking at the student-instructor ratio, it's a 6-to-1. And the purpose of that is so that they can get more one-on-one individualized attention because it is rapid. Students come to class 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. They have a day off every 2 weeks just so that they can take care of things that they need to take care of. The classes are set up. We're trying to emulate the workplace, so they have to show up on time. We have them clocking in, and they have to clock out just like they would, in the workplace. While they're here, we work with them on job placement skills, resume building, mock interviews, things like that, and also connect them with companies that are looking for people with the skill sets they're training in. We also provide them with housing and transportation. So the only thing that they really need to pay for is, their food, if they have medical bills and any kind of entertainment, that they want to participate in, while they're here. The other thing that they're exposed to state-of-the-art equipment, so it's the newest and the latest and the greatest, in machining and metrology, non-destructive testing, et cetera. And part of the purpose in that is so that they are exposed to it if the company that's hiring them has it, but if the company doesn't have the state-of-the-art equipment, they now have somebody that's trained in it so that they can start upgrading the equipment that they have to meet the needs of the submarine industrial base.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense. And that's, I think, the part of this program that has always been the coolest and craziest to me is that it's at no expense to the students. Scholarship funded through the Department of Defense, through the Navy. That's such a unique opportunity for the people coming through. As we talked about, there's students who have absolutely no experience in manufacturing that are, walking through and then able to get, connect with employers while they're here and walk out with a job offer. I think that's really cool. Talk a little bit about the where the students are coming from, even geographically.
So they do have to be U.S. citizens or have a visa that allows them to work in the U.S. And that needs most of our companies have some type of security clearance needs, so they have to be able to pass a background check. With that being said, we have recruited students so far in the 2 years that we've operated and offered classes from 29 different states, plus Guam, and we currently have students here from Australia who are also learning skills to take back to Australia, in the areas that we train in. They are all, I have to say, all ages, sizes, backgrounds. We've had people with, high school degrees. We've had people with master's degrees. We've had people with 4-year degrees, 2-year degrees. We've had people, retired military, so our veterans. We have people who are active military. We've had genders, all genders, races. It's just a conglomerate of people that are interested in working for the SIB.
We have, as you said, people coming from all different areas and, a very diverse group coming from all different areas, but then also going out, it's not like there's one place where all these workers are going. They're then going out to companies all over the country.
That is true. We've been placing in about 25 different states, and we are growing in that area also, trying to make connections with more companies that need our students.
What can you tell us about this new training center as far as, what's the timeline? What will this center accomplish for the ATDM program?
So right now we are currently in bridge facilities, and when the training center opens, and it should be fully operational in 2025, we're going to have more room to spread out and to provide our training. It's going to be over 100,000 square feet. It also has flexibility that if we have, say, the Navy or the Department of Defense comes back and says, we need you to start training in another area, say electrical or fiber optics or whatever, we have room to grow in other areas if that need should arise. It also will provide students with a place where they can have like a student center, and so they can get to know each other and just hang out and relax while they're there. One of the neat things that's about the new building is it's going to have the USS Buffalo, the SSN 715 sail in the front of the building, and in the back of the building is going to have the USS Providence SSN 719 rudder, and that's going to serve as a memorial and commemorate the history of the submarines.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's because obviously, no submarine parts being made in that building specifically, but obviously that building will have a great impact on current and future submarines.
Correct.
So that event for the groundbreaking was part of the ATDM AMCOE Summit. The AMCOE, Additive Manufacturing Center of Excellence, that's for the U.S. Navy. We're going to get to that in a separate episode. That's its whole thing.
Okay.
Very, very interesting, very complicated. But as far as the summit itself, what was that event about, and what impact does that event have?
Yeah, that is our third year of operating the summit. The first year we had, less than 100. There were about 90 or so participants. Last year we had 240, and this year we had 464 register.
Wow.
And so it has grown exponentially. The whole purpose was we're still building brand awareness. We're new. So we want people to understand, who we are, to know who we are. And we spend a significant amount of time trying to help companies know how we could be mutually beneficial. How do they partner with us? What can they do for us, and what can we do for them?
Yeah, seeing the amount of people that were on campus for that event was the most people I've seen during my time here. It's definitely a busy time. A lot of what the Institute does is about partnerships and bringing together entities and organizations that might not be able to work together otherwise, or it might not, you wouldn't think would work together. I think this is a great example of that, of us bringing together the needs of the Department of Defense and the Navy with what the private industries need, and then working with, other academic institutions like Danville Community College. And I think this is a really cool example of how basically the impact that we have, bringing those resources together, convening everyone and helping to really make an impact both, here, but also, with this program, that's an impact around the country. That's all the questions that I have for you. I think, this, as we've talked about, this program is important for the defense of our country, ultimately, with the, production of submarines, for the industries that are supporting that, and then, for the individual students. But is there anything else that you would want to add, or any other things that you think it's important that people know about this program?
Yeah, I think that the one thing that I enjoy about this program, one, I get to serve my country without actually enlisting. The other is that everybody gets it. I don't care what industry, what your background is, how old you are. When they hear about the program, they understand its purpose and its why, and they're immediately drawn to it. It's a unique opportunity for people who want to further their careers or to change their career. It's a unique opportunity for companies to have skilled workers that they don't have to pay for the initial training here in the beginning. And the Navy is able to fill the skills gap, that it needs in the manufacturing workforce to, in order to support national defense. So I see ATDM as a win-win-win program.
That is a lot of wins. And as you mentioned earlier, I think, that it's, scaling to graduate 800 to 1,000 students annually, which, you said 10,000 new students or 10,000 new workers needed every year. So obviously making a big dent in that number. So definitely exciting to see the continued growth of this program. So Dr. Holley, we really appreciate it. Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Now we get to talk to a couple students with the ATDM program. I know that's been part of the fun part of working here is getting to see all the different students coming to the ATDM program, some with previous experience, some with none, some local, some from around the country. So right now we are here with Zeke Gibson, who is in the CNC Machining program and has just a few weeks left before he graduates. So Zeke, thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about, I guess, your background and how, where you're from, all that kind of stuff, and how you ended up with the ATDM program.
So, let's see, right out of high school, I'm from Lynchburg, Virginia.
Okay.
Right out of high school, I joined the Marine Corps, joined as a helicopter mechanic, and then I transferred over to tilt rotor mechanic, so I worked on the CH-46, and then I switched over to the V-22 Osprey. Did that for about 8 years, and then trying to get out, I realized, that was my time to get out, so started looking for jobs and kind of bounced around a little bit and decided, I wanted a career change and career path, and ended up coming across at one of my previous jobs. They had a CNC machine, a couple of operators in there, and I just kind of liked what they were doing and thought it was kind of cool to, turn nothing into something. So kind of was like looking towards that path, and then crazy enough, I ran across a guy that said he found out about this program and he was going to do it, and I was like, well, that sounds kind of cool. Let me look into that myself. Ended up looking into it, and it almost sounded too good to be true. Called him up and went through all the interview process and all that, and here I am now.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. And so you said you're from Lynchburg and had been living in Lynchburg again when you found the program?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. So what has been your experience here so far? I know the program is very accelerated, obviously. So what has that, I guess 3 months and change that you've been here so far, what has that been like?
I'll say the first little bit, like trying to learn the basic fundamentals of the CNC world. It's opening up a whole new book. So the first, month was pretty, a lot kind of crammed into one. So you just had to pay attention to those steps, because after that, everything's kind of built up. We started on the mill, now we're on the lathe, so it's pretty easy on the lathe now once you kind of use what you learned to the new machine, But it's been pretty good. It definitely had its little challenges here and there. make you use all your brain. But I will say the biggest part that I liked was that it was just strictly CNC. There wasn't no community college or something. You got to do all the English class and all that.
Right.
So this definitely was more so for me. I like just coming in, doing the job, and actually learning what I'm going to be doing.
You mentioned, a mill and a lathe. For those who don't know, can you explain sort of, how a CNC, what is a CNC machine, and what are those two different examples you just gave?
A CNC machine is just a big old machine that's going to cut a raw piece of, chunk of metal that's either, just square, rectangle, whatever. Mm-hmm. You program a code into it, and then it's going to cut and make, motor bracket or just, a piston arm or something. It's taking nothing to make something. Mm-hmm. But the difference between the two, the mill, you clamp down your workpiece, and then the spindle, the tool moves around the workpiece and cuts out a piece. And then the lathe is complete opposite. You load the workpiece in, the workpiece spins, and the tool stays still.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool. And I know the outside of those machines, you can see inside, see the tool working, but then there's a giant screen and about 4,800 buttons that you can push on there. So definitely looks like that would be a lot to learn.
It takes a little bit of getting used to it, but especially with this program, they did a good job of getting some good instructors in and helping you, learn through all the keys and how to properly run the machines.
Right. No, that's good. And you mentioned before we started, you have 12 business days left before you're done as we're recording. So what are you going to do next? What's your game plan for what's coming next?
I'll definitely say we graduate on a Tuesday. Me and the family, we're going to go take a little break and enjoy the last little week in Tennessee. Just kind of clear out my mind, and I already got a start date for the following Monday. So
nice.
I'm going to go into work next week, or the week after that, and apply everything that I was trained and learned on.
Mm-hmm. And where will you be working?
I'll be working at AMG in Lynchburg, Virginia.
Okay, awesome. Now that you're almost done with the program, and obviously already have your next plans lined up, I guess what would be, if you were telling someone about this program, what would someone who would potentially be interested in, or just someone you meet, what would be the main things that you would tell them?
Oh, the biggest thing is it's a free opportunity. If anybody tries to offer you something free, you always feel like there's going to be a catch to it. But literally, I ran all the numbers and talked with everybody. It's free tuition, free housing. That's internet, water, electric. They even provide a transportation if you need it. They give you every opportunity to succeed. Mm-hmm. You just have to apply and pass. But again, that's the biggest thing, is that they're giving you everything you need. They give you the possibility to, I think for us, we can get up to 7 certs, if I'm not mistaken. So, that's only to help build a resume, and then the job placement, like I said, I got a job within 2 months of being here. So, and I think almost everyone in my class has got a job now too. So if you're looking for a career change and don't mind moving, that's good. I just happened to get lucky and get one in my hometown where I was looking for.
Right. Yeah, no, that's really awesome. Yeah, I think it's really cool to see all the different stories of students coming through here. As you being more of a local person coming in, already in Southern Virginia, getting to stay in Southern Virginia, but then students coming in from California and then relocating to somewhere in the middle of the country. There's all different stories there. So really, really cool to see that. But Zeke, that's all the questions I had for you. Is there anything else you'd want to add?
Oh, that's it. I appreciate you having me here.
Yeah, sure thing. Well, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, and now we are here with Nicholas McCants, who is with our Quality Control Inspection, also known as Metrology. He's in that group with ATDM. Nicholas, thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me.
So first, just tell us a little bit about, sort of about yourself and how you, I guess, your experience before you ended up here at the ATDM program.
So I was in the Navy about 7.5 years. I found out about this program, just kind of researching and just going through my military benefits and things like that or whatever, and I was able to find this amazing program. And I guess a little bit about me, I guess, before this program, been diving into a little bit of cybersecurity, diving a little bit into a little bit of real estate as well. And, now I'm going towards the manufacturing. It's a little bit everywhere, but, it's been more of a year to really establish a good and solid foundation towards my next destination for next year.
And with the Navy, what kind of work were you doing with them?
So I was an aviation bosun's mate. Basically, I launched and landed aircraft, and specifically, I worked with I guess in a sense, the firefighters on the flight deck, to where we would train to save pilots' lives and put out fires.
Cool. Yeah, that's really cool. So you mentioned all those different, opportunities you've been exploring.
Absolutely.
What drew you to the ATDM program, and specifically to metrology or quality inspection control?
Right. So metrology is the study of dimensions, and I've always been good with numbers and things like that, and that's one of the very much key points in metrology. We do a lot of trig, and we do a lot of numbers, measure all the way down to the tenth of an inch, and it's very it can be redundant, but it's very, very critical. It's very, very critical to where attention to detail is most definitely imperative.
And you've been here for a few months at this point. Now
Yes.
you're graduating very soon.
I'll be graduating November 7th. So, I've been here for about 4 months. And when I tell you, I've absolutely enjoyed this program. I feel like it's probably one of the best programs, that is sponsored by the military, because they pay for your schooling, they pay for your housing. You just have to just show up. And I feel like that's the least you can do, is just show up and, do what you need to do and take care of your schoolwork. But as for Danville and this program, probably one of the best programs that's been out here, honestly.
Yeah, no, that's good to hear. And do you have your sort of next steps after graduating in the next few weeks? What's next for you?
So I actually have an interview with Mistras tomorrow. It's a manufacturing company as well. They're a little bit everywhere. They're overseas. They're in the States. They're kind of spread off everywhere. So I'm actually pretty excited to sit down and be able to have that interview with them.
You talked about how you were sort of exploring. You were exploring those different options,
Absolutely.
once you got out, and now having done this program. So you feel like this is what you want to do. This
Absolutely.
is where you want to be.
Absolutely. I feel like this is most definitely what I want to do. I feel like this is where I want to be. Coming from a military background, with United States Navy kind of being the umbrella of a lot of the defense manufacturing, it kind of gives a little bit of a military culture in a sense, to where it's a lot of camaraderie, a lot of morale there, and people really work hand in hand, and teamwork is most definitely critical in a lot of things that they do, just like in comparison to the military. So you most definitely get that familiarity there. So I most definitely do enjoy that.
Yeah, no, that's really, really cool. And if you were talking to someone you met on the street, or even a friend about the ATDM program, and you were they were showing interest, what would be your elevator pitch for why someone should do this program?
I would tell them that if they may not necessarily have a plan, or they may not, or they're honestly just looking to switch careers, and kind of opening themselves up to a new environment, I would most definitely say that this program is a great step. I feel like it's a great step ahead, to where you're able to learn a skill, you're able to learn a trade, to where no one can't take that from you. You're able to learn something and apply it to the defense manufacturing. Like they said, they need people in this day and age, and I feel like culturally, in the way that we're advancing in the future, I feel like these jobs will most definitely be needed. So I feel like you're in a field to where it's necessary, essentially open, an essentially open field, to where you're able to learn as much as you would like to, work as much as you would like to, and really advance as much as you would like to. Because it's such an open field, and it's so much of an opportunity to advance. So I feel like that's most definitely. I feel like that's most definitely a benefit. Absolutely.
No, and it is cool to see the growth of this program.
Absolutely.
And just, obviously it's going to keep growing with more and more students. So.
And I most definitely feel like that's the positive thing. I feel like that, since I've been here in Danville, you see the steady, you see the steady development within Danville, and I feel like even not even being a native from Danville, I could see the pride that Danville would have to see such a development and such kind of an advancement in their kind of society, and so I can most definitely see the pride that could be there, absolutely, in how things been going.
And one thing I forgot to ask you about earlier. So how did you hear about the ATDM program?
Well, like I stated, I went on VA.gov. Honestly, I went on VA.gov and I saw the program. I read about the program. I saw how long you guys kind of been doing it. I'm like, okay, this is a freshly new program. I think you guys opened up in 2001, kind of like opening the cohorts up. So I was like, okay, this is a very, very new program. I think you guys were still in your pilot station. I was like looking at you guys, but I had applied, and I think that throughout the process of me kind of getting here, I feel like it's been very much steady. I feel like, I was able to get some feedback back and forth to kind of just let me know what's going on, what do I need, and things like that. So I feel like every step of the way, someone has always kind of been confirming with me, just letting me know what's going on every step.
Yeah,
so
no, absolutely.
I feel like that's been most definitely pretty good.
Well, Nicholas, that's all the questions that I have. I mean, is there anything else that you would want to add, or any parting thoughts you'd want to share?
I mean, I would most definitely say that as a student, this is most definitely a grateful time. Like I feel like there should be nothing but gratitude coming to this school. I feel like that I don't feel like that it should be abused. I feel like this is a great program. You get free school and free housing, and I feel like the best and minimal that you should do is to do your best here, because time does tick while you're going here, so I feel like you should make the best of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, glad you've had such a great experience.
Absolutely.
And looking forward to seeing what's coming up next. So we appreciate you being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me.
Megabytes IALR's on-site cafe features everyday favorites, convenient ordering options, and an eager staff ready to welcome and serve you. Our enticing menus offer something for everyone, from a fresh, well-stocked salad bar, wraps, sandwiches, and our rotating hot buffet offered on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Megabytes is open Monday through Friday from 9:15 a.m. until 1:30 p.m. To view menus and for more information, visit IALR.org/megabytes.